Hello, welcome back to Search Sean, and this is another Chat with Sean episode, and it's another kind of special one. We're going a bit off, not off track, but more like a generalized conversation rather than like digging into SEO stuff and all that kind of thing. So yeah, really looking forward to it. I'll do some intro bits, some admin, we get into it. But yeah, obviously I've done so many recordings recently, and I have so many good ones coming up. So I do suggest you subscribe because actually some of the stuff, including this, is going to be pretty awesome. But recently I had Clint on from Night Shift, and we talked all about AI, the concerns. He brought up some really great points around it. He was probably more positive than I was around it, to be honest. But and I guess we'll dig into that again today. And then also I had a panel discussion around what AI tools should be used, automation tools. It was just a discussion basically with some great experts in the field around the use of AI tools in SEO and digital marketing and automation tools. And yeah, they really know their stuff. So that's already live. So head over to that and I'll put a link in the description. But yeah, today is, like I say, we're going to have a general chat around AI and technology, basically, mainly around technology. And the reason, before I introduce my awesome guest, but the reason I'll just put, lay the foundations is because, and actually MJ put this in his own channel, and I think it's great that we've kind of been programmed now to go into this rat race, I guess. And technology has played a huge part of that. And now it's kind of like integrated into each other. And I feel kind of part of that myself. So when I went to university, I was thinking about what's got longevity, what's going to actually get me a career, what's going to actually keep me in a job. Not so much what do I actually like doing, because it probably wouldn't have been where I went. But it's actually just thinking about what else is going to get me that job and keep me there. And no, I'm not saying I don't enjoy it now, because I do. But would I have liked to done something differently? Maybe like more artistic or, that kind of thing. But, we're drummed into that about what jobs are going to do well, what jobs aren't. And then like the YouTube channel, and my job, I guess, like, the reason I did this is so I can, one, stay ahead of everyone else, talking to experts in the field, improving my personal skills, those sorts of things. Did I really want to do it? At the beginning, definitely not, to be honest, but I felt like I had to do it. Like a lot of the things that we do in our lives, we feel we have to do it. Like we have to learn AI, we have to learn this and that. Because if we don't, we fall behind and we get forgotten about. And that's what concerns me about AI, is that even I talked to Clint about it, was Amazon basically said to its staff, look, it'd be really nice if you learn AI and get really good at it. Because if you don't, well, you can get rewarded for doing that, for one. And two, if you don't, we might have to let you go. And IBM have let loads of people go. So for me, it's just like a necessity. Like you have to get on with it. And a lot of people saying if you don't do it, you're going to be left behind. And when you got bills to pay, you can't be left behind. And obviously some people have been let go and they don't deserve it, even if they haven't been left behind, but that's a whole different ballgame. So so I'll introduce my great guest today. And I'm really excited about this one because I've been following his channel for a fair bit now, and it's a really good one. So do go and follow, and there'll be links in the description. But basically I'm joined by MJ from the Life After 40 YouTube channel. I'll get that right. I really respect him. He's such an honest, like, I wish we could speak with such honesty in my shows. I do try, obviously, but and usually quite optimistic as well. Obviously, times. But no, just I'm just really glad to have you on. It's such a pleasure to invite you on.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be on, man. Thanks for the warm introduction as well. It's funny, actually, when you're talking about university and picking something that would be the best for you, going for your future life and work and whatnot. For me, it was the other way around, actually. I kind of picked something that I enjoyed, which was art. But I think if I'd have done it your way, I probably would have been a plumber. I think that's like the safest, a plumber or electrician or something like that. I would have done that if I'd have known the direction of design as well as the amount it pays, not as great as other roles. I'll let you know. But yeah, I would have been something else. But it's funny how things work. But
Yeah,
but happy to be here. Yeah.
no, 100%. I mean, that's the thing. We don't really when you get to uni, it is kind of like a guessing game. You're not really, they don't really sit you down and talk to you about these are the best roles because of this. Like, I mean, I didn't have it. Maybe other schools had it, but like a job advisor or whatever, where they tell you that you'll be suited for this and this is a good career to go down. But anyway, that's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you about this because it was brought up in my last conversation. It's the first I heard of it, even though it's quite an old thing. But this thing called Manna, and it was a 2003 sci-fi novel by Marshall Brain. It's basically exploring how advanced AI integrated with robotics could radically reshape society. So this was back in 2003, as I say. And he put together two possible futures. And I thought this was a good way to consider when we go forward and talk. But there's a dystopian world where Manna replaces millions of low-paid jobs, displaces workers who end up in a basic windowless shelter with minimal services and tightly controlled lives. Human agency is lost. Workers are little more than automation, supervised and fired by algorithms. And then there's also utopia, a society powered by abundant automation and clean energy where resources are fairly shared and freely shared, via credit system. Humans choose to live simple, meaningful lives. Some integration of AI enhancements, others living fully in a virtual world. And citizens must agree to core values like equality, transparency, no ownership, and continuous improvement. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but does not the first one sound like today?
Mate, when you read the first one, I was thinking about 1984. You know, the George Orwell. It sounded very Orwellian, man. Very dystopian. Oh gosh, yeah, I didn't like that. Yeah, no, it does. It does sound like today. It's very divided. It's like isolating, isn't it? And it's This is the thing. I hear a lot of people talk about AI in a positive way, and it could lead to ways in which we could work more efficiently. But you just have that other side where it's just, what can it do? What sort of harm can it do in regards to connection, in regards to our work life, and things like this? So yeah, no, that was the first thing that came to my mind. I'm hoping it's the latter. I'm really hoping it's just like, oh wow, it's this world of abundance where we can work sort of hand in hand. Maybe it's the cynicism in me. I don't know. I don't think it will be like that, but it's for hoping.
Yeah, from my point of view, I just feel like taking all human experience, the history of mankind into consideration and looking at the people at the bottom of the ladder, we don't seem to have that history that we look after the people at the bottom, or people struggling, or okay, we do some stuff, but the history tells us that isn't the case. And then I also brought up in the recent videos, like in US Congress, this actually got brought up by Congresswoman Luna, where she was talking about, because this is a real thing, that in the future, you can look at Elon Musk's Neuralink, that kind of thing, where people are going to be able to inject themselves or put technology inside themselves to enhance their brain capacity. Basically, they're going to have additional IQ points. And also with AI, we've seen already, this is already being kicked off, that, those sort of studies and experiments around making people live longer.
Right.
She was basically saying, how do we stop just the rich people getting this? And then they just live forever, get more intelligent, even not saying they're more intelligent than others, but obviously they're going to have the money to invest in that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they're going to increase their intelligence, increase their longevity. And then what happens to everyone else, you know? And that's what she was worried about. So
what I think is if you have this, you know, you can internalize, get all this information. Is there how do we stop, like, can we guarantee that it doesn't go too far, that the human side of us gets lost and it's all sort of AI and tech? Like, how is there, like, I just see it going a bit more further than we want, and it's like, what is the human side? I'm making decisions, but are they my decisions, or are they something that AI is programmed to be the correct decision for whatever? I just see that as an invasion of my humanity, that sort of thing. And yeah, gosh, I don't like. I didn't know we were getting that close to things. I thought we were a long way away from there. But saying that, though, I don't know if this is like the same. I had a work event, and there was this guy there. He worked a different department. I haven't seen him before, but he had all these he had these coins under his skin, all these little circle things. And I'm like, yeah, these are all like chip and pin card readers and stuff like this. And you know, you could just scan it with this. You can pay for this thing with this hand, and he's got his password thing in this hand, and you can feel it. It's like a coin and stuff. And he's into that whole AI stuff. And it was like, yeah, it just seems like we're just that the humanity side of us is like, it just seems like, oh, it's a weaker, less intelligent thing, and we need to replace it. But I don't know. I come from a bit of a religious background as well. I think maybe are we overstepping the mark with this? Do you know what I mean? It just seems like we're just going a bit too far ahead of what we're supposed to. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, you could argue, and I know you brought this up in your show, that perhaps we're already too far down the rabbit hole. Like, if you look at society now, how far people are so pretty much addicted to online, like social media. You know, they're basing their decisions on how they're seen online, how they're seen on social media. Are their decisions actually their decisions, or are they following an algorithm, a trend, a pattern that's built on a social media platform rather than actually what they want to do?
Yeah.
So, are we too far away from it? I don't know. But if you, like what you said on your channel, I said to Clint, when you start talking to people, and I get this a lot, even with my partner, if I start talking about AI or something a bit controversial, I don't know what you want to call it. I don't think AI is controversial. I mean, it's everywhere, but you know, somewhere that you really have to think a bit outside the box on what may potentially happen. They don't want to know about it. They just cut off, and they just want to, like you say, talk about football, talk about the weather, talk about anything but going down a rabbit hole of whatever it is, you know.
Yeah, I wonder if that's out of fear as well, you know. I was thinking more about that. I wonder if it's a thing where it's, you know, because I'm sure people are not silly. They know if this goes wrong, the possibilities could be very. I mean, we've seen all these movies, haven't we? It's Terminator and all this sort of stuff. And I kind of like equated it to Skynet. For those who watch Terminator, man, like, it just takes over. The machine just stops being used, it starts being ahead of its time and takes over. So I wonder if it's a fear as well, an underlying fear. But maybe it's just, well, why would this happen? Because the people that built this want the best for us. So there's nothing bad could happen. You know, there's nothing insidious about this. It's there to help us. It can do my shopping. I tell AI to remind me in this and help me prompt for a design deck I'm putting together and all these sort of things. So it's there to help me. So why would it be sinister? Why would it turn on me? Maybe it's that. Maybe it's that sort of thinking. So when I sort of pose a question, I mean, a lot of the times I stop posing it because I do notice there was a pushback. Oh, don't be silly. No. It's there to help us, and we can work with it. And any sort of like fears that I point out, they don't even get like listened to, and I just feel they don't even get, you know, like questioned. And oh, maybe it just seems to be an outright no. That's not going to happen. It's fine. Everything's fine. I get that sort of feedback from it, so I just stop talking to people and just talk on my channel about it instead.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I mean, if you start believing um, the likes of, governments and stuff like that, more than the experts who have actually. There's the thing, I would not be so bothered about all this if it was just Keir Starmer or something talking about it, because he's take that with a pinch of salt. But but when it's people that have actually created it, they were there from the early days of birthing AI, or however you want to call it. This sort of AI, obviously, it's been around for a while, but this form of AI that Google and so on are using, like Jeffrey Hinton, Mo Gawdat, these people, and they're saying this very easily and probably will get out of control one day, and if we don't pull the lever now, things could really go bad, and not now, not in distant future, in a few years' time. And then you got people like Eric Schmidt, and he's saying we have to have special processes in place to pull the plug on all the surface data centers if things start getting out of hand. That sort of thing. And these are people that you should trust saying this. So
yeah. You brought that to me because I didn't know anyone was talking about AI in that sort of aspect. I thought it was all, everything's great, it's fine. So when you spoke to me about that, and I was like, well, that's good. When there's people that can see the risks of this. So it's good to know that is being sort of like thought about, whether they'll be able to pull the plug on it if anything does go wrong is another story. But I mean, at least it is, for some aspects, being questioned. And I just see it when I work. I've seen from a smaller scale. Well, I don't know how small it is for the people that have lost their jobs, but I see it. I'm a designer, so I work with voice artists and things like this. And I see the workloads lessening. I see, because why do we need to get voice artists to work on particular projects where you can just get an account and just sign up, and then you get your credits, and you can get all different voices. You can get female voice, a male voice, different, nationalities, all that sort of stuff. So, just from a design point of view, this is why I'm saying it. If I weren't in design, I'd probably be like, yeah, it's great. It helps me do whatever. I can use it to, I don't know, help with a dissertation or answers, whatever. But from the design side of things, this is where my fear has come, because I've seen it. Okay, so my partner always, like, where she works, she gets designs done, and I usually do the designs for her workplace. And she needed it was some sort of a flyer, and she didn't ask me. She got it done via AI, and I didn't know this at the time. So I looked at the time. I was like, yeah, this is really good. Oh, didn't you ask me to do it? He goes, oh yeah, you were busy. I've just got this AI program that we have a membership to. Just typed in what I needed, and we got it done. And I was like, well, how long did that take? And she's like, oh, instantly, sort of thing. And I was like, well, what's he showing me there? If I was to do that, I'd need hours to review, to look at what competitors are doing, to look at the brand guidelines, what colors work, all that sort of stuff. This is like half a day to a day project. She got it done in minutes, if that. So it kind of just shows, like, wow, the capabilities of this is frightening. And what does it mean for me and the roles that I do and other designers for our jobs? Like, what does it mean to us? Are we going to be needed the same as we were before? So this is why these are the fears that are coming, just for me being in the trenches, man. You know what I mean? Seeing it firsthand.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw, I just saw today that Netflix came out and said they've used AI in part of their recent series they did.
Yeah.
So, they're already starting to, and like you say, I think everyone can see the power that AI can do, and it can do some amazing things, and it can do things like scientific breakthroughs and stuff like that. But when you start using something, you need a strategy, a plan. So when are you going to get all these highly educated people laid off? Like IBM today. I'm sure these people who work at IBM are extremely smart, but they're just going to be sitting there with no job now. And there probably won't be many jobs there lined up that they could possibly get that is in the same wage bracket and everything they need. So that's the thing. There's no backup plan by any governments or anything. Like today, the UK government said they want to invest in a massive new data center for AI. You know, and as people say, oh, well, that would give people jobs and potentially might make some jobs, but also you could have robotics that look after that service center 24 hours a day with no sick pay, no breaks, nothing like that. So, you know, again, you wouldn't need a human. And just on your, I know we discussed obviously off camera, but the nuclear bomb comparison, you know, this where I see this going, and this is kind of like, they felt they had to build that because they were worried that the competing countries would also be building something of similar ilk, and they had to like build it. So if they were there first, so if they needed to use it, they would have it compared to their competitors. And then obviously people got wind of the things and they started building it and so on. And that's kind of like war, isn't it? Like with war, like we've just invested loads in these weapons from America and stuff. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows war is, well, I hope everyone knows that war is bad and you shouldn't go to war. But yet we still invest in it because we're worried that other people will get something before us and be more powerful before us. So I see that with AI. I think we're just doing it literally. One, there's some egos there, like Sam Altman. But two, it's like, if we don't build it, then our closest competitor, like China or something, will surpass us. And we're worried that they'll do that and they have some super AI that we won't even be able to compete with. And that's how it is. That's the world, I guess.
Yeah. I think there needs to be some sort of rules to it, but it seems to be lawless. You kind of just put AI and make it push as far as you can. But maybe there needs to be some boundaries in regards to how it can be used and how far we can use it, you know, that sort of thing. It doesn't seem to be like that. Literally, it's just whatever we can do, we do. It seems to be that aspect of it. So it's like, well, how far can you go with this until it's trouble, until we are powerless to it? And that's the issue.
Yeah, and let's get in a few topics. So like the first one was like, do you think that technology is making us more connected or more isolated as society? And also, has it made us happier in general? I just found some recent studies, and a shocking portion of Gen Zs say they could form a deep emotional bond with an AI-generated partner and would even consider marrying one. A new study found 83% of young people born between 1997 and 2012 said they could develop a meaningful connection with a chatbot, while 80% said they would marry one. And that's a New York Post. So, yeah. So what do you think? Do you think it's like, yeah.
I'm not surprised by that, by the way. I think it's both, actually, because listen, when we talk about technology, not to say this technology as a whole, it has been good. Like, you've got people that can speak to family members and friends from across the pond and, you know, keep, you know, because I know we all have busy lives, but you can kind of get on your socials and connect with people, all this sort of stuff. So I think in that way, it's good. But I think the problem you get is that, you know, when you have Facebook, all these friends, like you have hundreds of friends, it's not really a friend. So you have the illusion of having all these friends around you, but you're isolated because you're not speaking to a real person. You're not connecting. You're not going out and actually visiting a physical human being. You're just having all these people who are so-called online friends. So you're getting the sort of dopamine hit from the likes of the friends and the comments and, you know, all these sort of things. But it's shallow. It's not real. It's not. It's just not real. So I think that's where, I think if you keep doing that, I think that's where the isolation is coming, because you haven't got real fundamental connections. These people on there can unfollow you, unlike you, you know, unfriend you. Do you know what I mean? It's not real. Where a real person that's your mate, they've got to come speak to you, or they, you know what I mean? It's that sort of thing. So, you know, you got that, as well as technology creating these barriers, I feel, of like real meaningful connections. Even when you take it through to the dating, where I feel that, you know, it'd be a real thing to actually go out and approach a lady that you liked or you're interested in, that sort of thing. But I think through like apps and stuff like this now, I mean, obviously things are good through apps. I mean, actually, my current partner through an app, so it is good in a sense. But I think it's more of a, you've got a tick box exercise into things that you require of the person instead of getting to know them, getting to find out what they like. It's like, oh, do they fit this box? They fit this criteria. And also going to approach someone that did something for your self-confidence, your self-esteem, that sort of thing. So I think these sort of human traits, due to technology coming in, has taken things away. Also, you have the scrolling endlessly through phones, which I do as well. I'm no better at this. I go through, I think they call it doom scrolling, not doom scrolling, when you're just there and then you realize it's been like 2 hours. You've not done the cooking or anything like that. You've just been going through, getting your dopamine hits from a funny post or funny meme, that sort of thing. But again, it's not real. It's not, to get that, I have to actually go out and visit someone in the real world. So I think, I think it has sort of ostracized, this technology ostracized and sort of isolated people from society generally.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, like you say with Facebook, in principle, all these, you know, technologies and platforms have the right intention, but as humans, we do like shortcuts. We do like finding sort of ways that we've seen that now with AI. You know, that's our point of it, is that we get our answers quicker, we get everything quicker. That's what we like. So with Facebook, it enabled family members, friends, or whatever, a shortcut to just say happy birthday, how are you, you know, stuff like that. Not actually ringing them up or going around their house. They can easily just do it on Facebook.
Sometimes there's a prompt. You can click a prompt. It just says, "Oh, do you want to say happy birthday?" on the message. You don't even need to write the message. Just click the prompt you want to use.
That's what I mean. So, and I'm not saying that I'm innocent and I haven't done any of this, because of course I have. But the platforms have made that possible, you know, and yeah, it obviously as well, because of social media and stuff, especially, like people's inner red mist or toxic thoughts or whatever have, you know, when you used to meet people in real life, you know you shouldn't be saying this stuff because it's just not right. Well, on social media, people feel they can just do that kind of thing. And then as a society, generally, I think that's created more divide in certain ways. You can create groups and things like that on social media. You can create, you know, just technology in general, like websites and stuff like that, you know. It's obviously, back in the day, you could have clubs and groups and stuff, but now everyone in the world can access it and become a member and blah, blah, blah. It can be a lot widespread with social media. So that's obviously a concern of mine. And obviously, if we advance through looking at what we just heard about Gen Zers, you know, we know, like now, I think you said it on your channel, like nightclubs, most of them being shut down because no one really and pubs and stuff, they're not surviving because they're not getting enough people going there. The people just can't be bothered to go and talk to real people. They could just go on a website or a chat room or now and talk to people, or WhatsApp group. And yeah, I just feel like with virtual reality, people just be going onto their virtual reality headsets and then going to meet people there. It's a form of like, it is a form of community and stuff, but like you said, are we going to lose that human touch, you know, when we go into a workplace or a shop or something? I mean, I don't know if because of this, I think I talk probably way too much and I'm in public now. I should probably shut up quite a lot because I talk to everyone. Well, I used to be so shy and talk to no one. But when I talk to certain people, you get to see, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you talking to me like this? Like, you know, it's just weird.
Yeah, I remember, talk about the clubs. I remember, I kid you not, I remember going to a club. These two girls, they were dancing, No, they had the phones. They were dancing, doing a selfie thing or whatever, recording. And then once I think it was done, they stopped and they got really moody and they're just like, no more dancing. I think they're just going on their phones, maybe to try and get the right filter to send it, get the right, the caption on it. But it was like the music's still going. So they're giving the illusion that they're enjoying it. But other than when they stop, they're just like moody and concentrating on that. You know what I mean? It's that sort of, and I guess if whoever sees that post, be like, oh, enjoying, having a great time dancing, but they don't know, behind that. Oh, they're just there spending the whole time going for the right filter. It's just kind of the social media really gives you illusions. I know for a fact, I won't mention this person, but I have a friend who's not in a great relationship at the moment, but you wouldn't know it because every single event, it would be like, I don't know, Easter, Valentine's Day, they're posted, everyone's happy and the things, everything's great, a nice little bar, just having a nice meal, whatnot. So anyone sees that thinks, oh yeah, I wish I can have that. Oh, I don't have anyone. I wish I can have that. But they don't know what's going on there. So it's all this illusion, all this kind of like people like having money there and dressing up and all that. It's a lot of it is an illusion. And it makes a lot of people, the people watching this, insecure about your own life because I don't have that. Oh, he's flossing with a car, or he's got this or she's got that. I haven't got that. So I'm not doing well. I need to catch up. I'm behind in life now. So it really does really mucks up your mind when you live through social media and see these things and think this is real because these are when they say this is like the edits. This is not the edits. This is the final version, but the edits and the all of the background stuff. You don't see that. You don't see the hard work. You don't see the stress or the struggle. You just see the post that they want you to see the good times.
I think you're spot on. I think FOMO is being elevated to some extremely stupid level by technology now. And with AI, it's going to be accelerated even further because you're not going to know what's real, what isn't anymore, like even more than you did before. But people, and rightly so, like, I guess you follow people, you're going to take their word for it. But like you say, I've seen people go to certain events or locations or whatever, and they've only gone there for the sole purpose they're not even that interested in the thing or the location. They're not even taking much in. And then they're going there just to take pictures to show on their social media or videos and so on. And it's like, how is that going to make you any more happier, really? When a few years down the line, when you get on, like, you get a bit older like ourselves, none of that is relevant at all. And then people sit there scrolling and I get it. But that's what it's created, that kind of FOMO lifestyle. And people need to learn majority of that is just false. And even if it isn't, then I've just learned, be happy for them. If that's either way, just be happy for them. If they want to lie, if they feel they have to lie, and put up a false sort of truth, then be happy for them for whatever they're doing, if that makes them happier. And if they're not, and if they're doing better than you, because there will be people do better than you, believe it or not, be happy for them. Don't be resentful. There's not enough time for that. You have to go focus on yourself.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And just going back to the AI side of things, I saw this, it's scary. This, so basically it was a podcast. What it was actually, it was this guy, he had a YouTube channel, he has a YouTube channel and he wrote a book and he wanted a podcast to talk about the book, to give it a review. But there's an AI feature where you can create a podcast with two people that are not real speaking. And he demonstrated it. And the way they were talking about the book with each other, it was scary. Like they were even like had little stutters sometimes. The voices were fluctuating. It just sounded so. You heard one of them like just swallowing like normal. Like it was so real. It was eerie, but it was all AI generated, and it just seems like I don't know. Maybe I've been somewhere. I've had my head in the sand, but this seems to be this massive leap, like this huge jump, like where we are AI wise. Like I remember watching the whole Will Smith eating spaghetti video to where we are now is like what? How do we get this? How do we do this leap? It just seems to be just I don't know, crazy.
Yeah, I think part of that as well. It's like the younger people are so, they're just so used to using technology compared to like our generation, where now they can adopt things a lot quicker and start rolling out a lot quicker. Like my youngsters, they're only like young and they can use technology so well. Where, back in my day, I was just start to use the PC and games consoles and stuff. So, it's interesting. Just on that note, I just saw today and I tried to find it and I couldn't. But there was something about like this made up daughter of a rich businessman, and they made up like she went to Wimbledon and like something like that. And it was a whole fake story. There's no daughter. No daughter went to Wimbledon, and she got about 50 or something stupid, 50,000 followers in a day or more. And it's and she wasn't even real. And, this is the thing. How are we going to know? There's agencies out there now, digital marketing agencies, and they just create avatars of these AI models or whatever. And then they go out like themselves, they take pictures and things like that and just superimpose this avatar on to them where they were. And they're getting hundreds of thousands of followers and likes and things like that. It's just, I don't know. Do we want to live in a world where we don't know what's real and what's not?
I don't. I not AI speaking, but even when you look at, when I do look at memes and stuff, even these funny memes and pranks and all this kind of stuff, and even reaction videos, some of it they're acting, so it's not even real. So it's like, well, I was enjoying this, but then like, is this real? Are they just putting on a show to get views? I personally, I like truth. I like honesty. I just like things being real. If it's good or not, I like to know that it was real. And yeah, I just, I prefer to be in a real world, and be able to trust what I see and not think, I look at things now and I always have to say, is this AI? That's the first thing that comes to my head now. You look at, even like you got trailers of movies. It was I think Doom, because I used to really love comic book movies, not so much now. But it's a comic book movie coming out, Doom, and it was like it was on YouTube. There was a teaser trailer, but it was a fake. It was AI generated, but it looked so real. We had all the characters there, Robert Downey Jr., all of that. So it's like, so now when I look at stuff, I always have to think, like, it can be let me go in the comments. Has anyone else noticed that it's real or not? Has anyone said anything? It's AI generated. So I think soon they're going to come up with things, whether they use AI. I think there's going to be like a disclaimer saying this is not AI generated or this is made by real humans. They have like with food, this is organic. I think it's going to get to that, where people are going to actually look for things that are real for whatever reason. I don't know, but that's what I think we're going to get to.
I think 100% spot on. I mean, working in search, I think that's definitely the way we're going. Like, we can already see like the places like Reddit becoming extremely popular because people actually, they don't trust what they see on search as much anymore. So they want to go to platforms that humans are mostly, and even Reddit's been inundated with AI bots. So that's a whole different thing. But yeah, I mean, I've done the same. I've shared things thinking, oh, shit, this looks really cool. I need to share this. And I need to realize that they say, no, Sean, that's AI. I was like, so, it's, it can, I say, I think twice now whenever I share anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just talking about, people's confidence and stuff like that. How do you think that AI is affecting people's self-worth or identity? And obviously if things advance even further and we do go into where like some sort of universal wage where everyone gets the same sort of wage because AI has taken the majority of jobs, what's that actually going to do for someone's worth? Because the people, personally, the thing that gets me up in the morning is because of, one, for my kids, spending time with them, but also making sure we've got a roof over our head and that kind of thing. But also because I'm a ambitious, driven person, and I want to achieve things throughout my day. You know, if we don't have that, I mean, I know people can go gym and stuff like that, but for your real mental side of it, like if you work in that kind of job, how are people gonna, get over that?
Yeah, I think I feel strongly about this. I think it's kind of unsettling watching a machine or AI effortlessly create something that you spent years learning, you've spent money and student loans like trying to study, and this machine does it in like seconds. There's something really unsettling, and I've had it for me in the design world. And it just, I don't know, it takes something away from you, and it makes you think the skills that I've learned, the time that I've put into it, what does it mean now? Because you can literally type something in now and get the same thing that I put my essence into. That's part of my life. And it can weaken your confidence, in regards to thinking, in the job world, thinking, well, I don't know if you need me as much as before, because this thing will never have any days off. It would do, as long as you pay it, it will pay the amount for the program. It will always deliver. It will deliver what you want. It won't argue back with you and think maybe you should do things a different way. So it's like, well, what standing do I have now? How strong is my position in the company? So in that regards, in work, yeah, definitely, it lowers your confidence. And also internally, just as something that you've put your you've studied this craft. I've gone through highs and lows. I've worked in different agencies, worked with different people to create this craft, and it's been duplicated. And maybe, I don't know, you can argue it's done better than what I can produce. So what am I? So then you start thinking, because a lot of people, for me, I saw myself, tell me about yourself. What are you? I'm a designer. That was always what I'd say. So now I'm thinking, that designer, is that me? Or is that it? Because it's been really reduced to, it feels like reduced to nothing now, or just to any old thing where it could be replicated. So it makes me think about who am I now? My self-worth. It really makes you think. So yeah, it has damaged confidence in regards to, for me, in regards to my position of work, and also who I am as a designer.
Yeah, I see it a bit like because many people say this is the worst AI is ever going to be. It's only going to keep getting smarter. It doubles in intelligence every 6 months. So it's like, for me, if you're, a 30-odd-year-old tennis player, and you used to be one of the best, I'm not saying I was one of the best of anything, but just saying for this like story, you used to be one of the best. Say you're like Nika Djokovic or whatever, or Roger Federer, and then suddenly, on the Dow, and then suddenly some 18-year-old comes along, and he's much better than you, and he's quicker, he's got a better serve, go for it. You're like, holy crap! Like, I still wanted to do this for a few years, and I'm quite ambitious, and it's not just one of them, it's loads of them. They all come at the same time, and they just smash you off the park. And, that that's the worst, that's like the worst they're ever going to be, probably, because they're young. They're only going to get better. And this is probably the best, well, not the best, but partly the best you're going to be. You're only going to get worse because your age, like, as you get slower. And so it's like, that's kind of how I feel a bit. Like, I feel quite good. I feel like I know a decent amount, but I'm going up against some young, like, it's got all the power and energy it wants. It's only going to get better. How do you compete with that?
Yeah, that's it. I don't think you can. Like, the way it's looking, like you said, it's only going to get smarter, better, more efficient. I don't know how, because it's doing the stuff that I can do. I've seen it. I've used it, by typing in a sentence. So yeah, I have that same thought that Well, I mean, like, I wanted to be in this a bit longer. Maybe I've got to think of other things of like, earning a bit of bread, earning a bit of crust, like, because my design days may be coming to an end soon. I don't know. It's not looking good. That's how I feel. That's how I feel every time AI is sort of like implemented or used. Maybe you can say maybe I don't know, I love confidence, or I don't know what you can say, but that's literally how I feel. Like you described it very well. It's like a young person, you're the head of the game, you're the guy or the woman, whatever, and then this next kid comes on the block and they're better than you, they're faster than you, quicker than you, stronger than you. It's like, wow, like, is this the end of for me now? Do I need to hang it up, or do I need to get into something else now? Because this person's better than me. I can never catch up to that.
I don't know how you're doing on time, because I don't want to.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few more things. So there's like, one of the other topics was, is AI a tool for empowerment, or will become too dependent on it? And there was a study of 300 experts who responded to questions about the impact of change. By 2035, they predicted that the change brought about by the adoption of AI is likely to be the most negative in the following 9 areas. And they put social and emotional intelligence, capacity and willingness to think deeply about complex concepts, trust in widely shared norms and values, confidence in their native abilities, empathy and the application of moral judgment, mental well-being, sense of agency, sense of identity and purpose, and metacognition. And that's from Elon University. And yeah, I mean, that was interesting. I do feel like we may become smarter and more efficient to a degree. I mean, will we become smarter? I don't know. The machines will make us think we're more smarter, but actually when we go into the real world, I'm not sure, because are we going to have those communication abilities to be able to speak with each other properly and verbalize what we actually want and need? Because I already, when I did that recent video with digital marketing recruiters, they were saying that one of the key things that they are already looking for is communication skills, if someone can actually communicate properly. So that's kind of where one of my concerns. And what we just talked about is the sort of the mental well-being, the sort of sense of identity. And, already everything we look at online is curated and twisted and kind of, shaped and stuff around our thoughts and our search history and our beliefs or morals or whatever you want to call them. But the stuff we look at online, everything's personalized, search results, social media, news, like an echo chamber. If this carries on with AI, this echo chamber is only going to keep getting, people are going to be more pigeonholed into those echo chambers even further. They're just going to see what they believe in more often. That's what I'm worried about, that sort of thing, because I think we're already there, because of the personalization. But with AI, it's going to be like supercharged even further. So if you don't look at anything beyond your usual thought process, you become very narrow-minded. And I think that could be an issue.
Yeah. You know what? It's like when I use the Satnav. I use Satnav to get around, but then I don't know the roads or the direction or how to get there myself, because I'm programming it into the Satnav. The Satnav's taking me there. All I've got to do is type in whatever postcode and I'm there. But before, I remember a time when it was A to Z. So you'd be turning it all the way around and plotting where you need to go. But then through that, I'd learn how to get to different places, different roads. Oh, that'll give you the shortcut to this. I've lost that skill now through using the Satnav. And I think it's the same thing with AI. Like we're using it, people are using it to do prompts for dissertation or whatever, like projects and things like this. But I think these are core skills that we have that we don't need to. We can just let it give it to the information to us. So what happens to us? What happens to the way we navigate certain answers instead of thinking it, giving it great thought, getting to a certain point and then executing that? You just type it into ChatGPT, whatever, and it does it for you. So that's how I actually think we're going to regress. I don't think we're going to get smarter. I think we're going to get dumber. I think we're going to have an over-reliance. I believe we're going to have an over-reliance on AI to do. Yeah, it's like the whole math thing. You know, when we weren't allowed to use calculators in exams and things like this, and but now later on you could. But then the whole problem solving goes because you don't need to problem solve anymore. Certain things you could just add what's this, that's the sort of thing. So I think with using AI, having an over reliance on it, we're going to use core like abilities, problem solving abilities, judgment of how to execute certain things. I think that's going to go because of our reliance on AI. And then if anything goes wrong, if the internet's down or whatever, I think we're screwed. I think we're not going to remember how to, like what our grandparents did or our parents did, how they can problem solve things. We ain't going to know because we're going to be like, well, how do you do that again? I don't know, man. AI usually tells me, I just tap this in and it lets me know the answer. Internet's down. I'm a bit puzzled. I don't know how to accomplish this task or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So I really think, I think that's a definite worry about that. Are we too dependent on AI? And will our dependence grow? I think it's quite gradual. It's quite seamless. But I think we're going to be overly relying on it more than what we realize it is until maybe it's too late.
Yeah. And on that, people have used the example of like a phone book, because back in the day, like I used to remember at least 3 or 4 phone numbers.
Yeah.
My main phone numbers. You ask me even my own number now, I don't know. And it's not just so much about phone numbers because that's just one thing or another, but it's memory, building working the muscles in your brain to do certain things. So if you're not doing that, then they're not being used. And if you're just relying on AI or technology in some way just to fill the gaps, it's a problem. And like you say, I think that's what I'm worried about, like with my children and children generally, is like the reason that you progress through life usually is that you learn from your failures. You try things, you fail, you try it again, you fail again, you learn from. If you don't have that process, you just go from the idea to the perfect model, basically, at the end of it, because of AI. What have you learned? You've learned how to do some prompts. And they're going to be so smart in future that they won't even need much of a prompt. So you're not even going to have to be good at prompt building, I think the only way around this is, and I know even some children, like some schools don't even have this yet. Like some schools let them have to bring their phones in and stuff. But I think the only way forward is that you don't even let them go near technology and they just do stuff out of books again.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way with pen and paper. I think like if you ask, like, it'd be interesting, but even when I write now, because I'm so used to typing things, it's even harder to write again.
Same. Yeah. My writing looks terrible now.
Yeah.
I've forgotten how to do it.
So, that's going to be a problem. Youngsters, they're not going to be able to even write properly. And like you say, if say electricity went down, there's a solar flare, which could happen anytime. A solar flare hits the earth and power goes off. Obviously it happened recently in Spain and Portugal. But if power went off, I literally don't think that mankind could last. I'd give it 24 hours. You see like COVID when people were pushing each other out the way for toilet paper.
Yeah.
I can't imagine we had no electricity. Everyone's bored because they can't look at their phones. They can't watch their TVs. Everything's powered by technology, internet, satellite using for GPS.
Yeah.
Everything with banking is using internet. Everything we do is powered by the internet or electricity. I literally don't think we would last 24 hours without a massive amount of trouble going on.
Yeah. And I think, I think with that, with COVID, I think with the lockdowns as well, I think people, this is slightly going off subject, but off topic, but I think people realize a lot about themselves, a lot about the people they're living with. Then when they didn't have any distractions, the distractions when, they can, instead of having to go out and do all this and work, whatnot, they were faced with themselves and the people they were with. And a lot of people realized, oh, maybe I don't like the direction I'm going. Maybe I don't like the job I have. Maybe I'm not in the right relationship. So I think there's that whole thing of it puts the mirror in front of you and it makes you sort of like having everything down. I think it good in a way of making you face yourself, thinking, okay, what am I doing sort of thing. So I know that's slightly off topic, but I remember with the lockdown and stuff like that, a lot of people were having to question their decisions and question themselves. So that's because there's distractions weren't there anymore other than online and whatnot. They can go out and do the thing. So yeah, but in regards, bringing back to AI, yeah, I think yeah, you're literally gonna not know what to do. It's like you're gonna lose a skill in that problem solving. It's like the journey is maybe more important than the destination. It's that build up there. We're gonna lose that. We're not gonna have that to the same level. So what does that mean for us? What does that take away from us? I think these, like you said, trying it again, getting it wrong, trying it again, instead of getting the perfect answer, perfect model first time. I think character building. It's like I think when when you're younger and you're chatting up someone and she rejects you, chat. That's not bad. You look like it. That's good. That's character building. That got me ready for rejection. How do I deal with that rejection? I've been rejected. I've been told no for whatever. How do I deal with that? How do I process that internally and then go again? I think these are fundamental building blocks to build character. And I feel that these are getting taken away from us.
Yeah, I agree. And on that sort of, getting rid of distractions and that, we'll go on to that, but I definitely feel like there are ways to do that. I think it's important that people do try and do that when they can. I feel like that we were going back to earlier with the whole rat race thing, like, the reason why we're all going into these rabbit holes or whatever, it's because we're forced to by society because of the way that our economy works and the way that we have to pay for things and the way, that kind of just general life. Like, because we've got all that going on, we haven't got time to think too much about actually where we want to be and who we want to be, and we just follow. Like you said on your show, it's easier to follow than do your own thing.
Yeah.
So it's definitely the case. Let's go a couple more subjects, and I'll let you go if that's okay.
Yeah.
I know we've run over, so I don't want to keep you too much.
No, it's a good conversation. It's a good chat, man. It's just I feel strongly about this, so it's good to get our opinions out there.
Yeah, I think so. So in case, like, we talked about younger people, but if you're like an older, say older, but like, not 20, but if you're, 30 plus or whatever, how do you like, stay ahead of all this and kind of like avoid being left behind, because it feels like a young person's game a lot of the time because it's so tech focused, and obviously AI is going to make it even more so. So how do you stay ahead, do you think?
Yeah, well, I think being older actually gives us an advantage in a way because we kind of saw life before technology, before smartphones and social media. We kind of know what it was like before. So it gives us a better perspective and understanding uh, of what we might lose, with AI and whatnot. So I think in that regards, I think it's good. But yeah, literally, yeah, these kids, their brains work so quickly in regards to AI and technology in general. I think the way we sort of I don't think we're ever going to be on that same level. I think that the younger generation, they're always, the millennials are always going to be better at it. And that's okay. That is what it is. I think what we can do though is we have to try and keep up by not hiding from AI because it's not going anywhere. So I just think if we just keep up to date with the trends of AI, maybe know how to use the basic AI tools, I think that's a good way of being, not being left behind, just hanging in there. But I don't think we're ever going to be on that same level. I think it's going to be a lot slower for us to keep up in regards to that. So I think, yeah, maybe not hiding from AI, but just maybe keep using some of the tools and keeping up to date with it. I think that's probably the best way we can do it.
I just think don't be intimidated by it. I would just make sure that you take time out of your day to actually play around with the tools, and just see what you can do with them, even in your own day-to-day life. It can help you with a lot of stuff. But yeah, and don't get too worried about the whole, I know I talk a lot about it on my channel, but don't be too overwhelmed about all the other stuff it could possibly do or not do, because it might do that, but it could be a meteorite that hits the earth as well. You can't just sit up all night worrying. Although I have said I've sit up at night worrying about AI sometimes, but generally I wish I did, and I don't think other people should, because it's going to happen. We can't, if Google and Amazon and OpenAI and Meta, they want it to happen, it's going to happen. And there's nothing we can do much about it. We have to ride the storm and just go with the flow, I guess. And just do the best we can ourselves.
Yeah. Because even in job specs now, you see where they want for design job specs anyway. A lot of them on LinkedIn and stuff, they're looking for people that have some experience or familiarity with certain AI tools now. So if you don't keep up, it's hard to say, it's bad to say, but you're going to be left behind. You're not going to be able to get the same sort of positions as the others. So you can either be a victim in that regards or try and just familiarize yourself with them, keep up to date, like you were saying. I think that's the best thing you can do.
Yeah, and just do it in your own, like I say, if you use it just for work stuff, it might become a bit boring or whatever. So if you use it in your own life, like, if you've got children, create stuff for the children, or, just have conversations with, or create images that, just play around with it. And then, then you start getting used to it and it's not so intimidating. And just on the topic we had before, I found this interesting. I want to say this. A Central Queensland University warned that, the overuse of AI tools like ChatGPT leads to a 47% drop in active neural connections, with 83% of AI users unable to recall their own writing. And an MIT-linked study on design thinking observed that students using AI generated fewer and less varied ideas, showing design fixation on AI prompts. So I just thought that was backs up the creativity.
Yeah. That percentage is very high. Gosh, yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, I do try now because I do use AI a lot because it just speeds things up, and I've got a lot to do at work. But I do purposely make sure I take a lot of time to consider each step and have an input into it. Like I try and think of it like another colleague. So I'm working with a colleague, but I don't just want the colleague to do everything.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I'm working with the colleague. And that's how you just see it. If you're just relying 100% on your colleague, then you're not really doing your job. So, that's how I try and do it. So be involved in the steps, because otherwise you are going to lose all that creativity, that creative thinking.
Yeah, but that's what a lot of designers are doing now, which I don't understand. They're using AI tools to design for them when, you got into that role because you're a creative, I assume. Whereas I like you, I use the AI tool, but I use it more like a prompt, like an assistant. Tell me, maybe tackle a task with prompts of how do you suggest I tackle this if I'm having fatigue and brain fatigue or whatever. And then I carry out the design work. So I use it as like an assistant to myself. I don't use it to create the design, which a lot of designers surprisingly are doing now, to create like t-shirt designs and whatnot. But the whole creative process of it is the reason we got into this gig, I assume. So yeah, use it as a system, but I don't recommend using it to create for you, because like you said, it's literally taking all the work for you when it shouldn't be that sort of relationship.
And just finish off a few things. So one, are you optimistic? Or I mean, I probably seem quite a doomer on my channel, but I'm actually not. Like, I'm quite a positive person, but I like to try and stay level-headed as well. So, generally try and look at it from all angles. But with AI, it is a bit difficult to look at it from a massively positive angle, because what's going on? How do you generally feel, and where do you think it's going to go? And then finally, how do you ever switch off from technology? Or have you got any methods?
Yeah, well, in regards to where I think it will go, I think we're screwed. I think, no, I shouldn't say that. No, I think it could be like seasons. So what I mean by that, because I think it's gonna get worse for a lot of people, a lot of jobs. I think we're gonna be so reliant on it, and I think a lot of people are gonna feel the pain. But then what I'm hoping is like a seasonal thing. So it's the winter times, the darker times. I am hoping it gets to the summer and spring where it's like, it creates new roles that weren't there previously. So then it's new opportunities, new roles that we can do. I'm hoping it's something like that. I'm hoping there is a empathetic thought in regards to, okay, maybe this isn't the best thing to roll out. I don't think that's that, to be honest, but hoping that maybe this isn't the thing to push out, because a lot of people, we're making a lot of people sort of just not needed. They're not needed for particular roles. So maybe we should pull back and have people integrate people back into regards to the roles, because we want to help the people. But I don't think that's going to happen in that regards. But I'm hoping that there are benefits in regards to maybe new roles being opened up for people to do. But I think it's going to get a lot worse in the near future. I think 2026 there could be a lot of jobs that go. So I would suggest for people to maybe upskill, or just have alternative avenues in regards to work. And I would suggest this: what you've actually said in regards to studying university, you got into it through thinking what would be beneficial, what would be more financially benefit for you. Well, I did it as like, what do I want to do? I think maybe we need to go into your reason in regards to what is it that AI won't be able to do. Maybe I should go into that sort of direction. I think maybe people start thinking in regards to that. And how I switch off in regards to it, how I sort of I don't use AI. So there's a platform that I use called Claude AI. It's good for designers and stuff like this in regards to helping you with prompts and questions for design tasks. But what I try and do is I don't use it initially. If I get a brief, I try and do the brief to the best of the ability. If I do have struggles, if it's 20 minutes in, I'm like, I've got brain fog, I can't think, then I'll go to AI and say, how would you deal with this particular brief? So basically what I'm doing is relying on my own skills as long as possible until I can't do it anymore and I need AI to maybe help in regards to this. Other days I don't need AI at all to help me prompt. But yeah, just rely on myself as long as possible. That's sort of how I do it.
Yeah, they're great tips. And yeah, I think I'm not that optimistic because of what I said before. I feel like the people at the very top haven't shown me much in the past. They care too much about the others. So I'm not convinced. And I don't feel like a lot of people said it's probably too far down the track now to kind of put it back into the stable. It's kind of the horse has bolted. You can't really stop AI now from progressing. It's on its way. But obviously there could be more. The governments and companies should be putting more guardrails in place and putting up a plan for when people are starting to lose their jobs and what they can do and how they're going to get income, and yeah, Jeffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, said and he jokingly said it, but he wasn't joking. He said about becoming a plumber. He said, what should people do? And he said, become a plumber. You know, those sort of jobs are going to be the last ones taken by probably. So, yeah. And to switch off, I mean, I feel like my best ideas, I know everyone says this, but it's true. But my best ideas are when I leave my phones at home and I go for like a walk, you know, go for the school run or whatever, and I just don't even have any form of technology on me, or that kind of thing. I think when you just put things down, don't even look at screen, and you just have time to just relax, you know, put on some sort of music and just sit there. That's for me the best ideas and positive thoughts and all that kind of thing come flushing back, because it's just like you know, get a break from the technology. It's not healthy just to keep looking at it all day, every day, looking at what people are doing and stuff like that, as we said earlier. But I mean, I think we could talk all day about this subject. So I really appreciate your time today, MJ. And
thank you. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed sort of going through these topics. And I do feel like you have a tiny bit more optimism, but I think maybe it's wishful thinking. I don't know. I do definitely feel it's going to get a lot harder than it gets better. I will, but I've enjoyed talking about this, and I'm glad that there's someone like you speaking about these things in this kind of way, because it just seems, from what I've seen, it seems to be like, oh, everything's great, don't worry about nothing. But I think there's, you know, you can put your head in the sand, or you can face reality and do something about it. So I think you're helping to do that. So I appreciate that.
Thanks, mate.